All right, good morning, everybody. So today, what we are going to do is it's a special because we're looking back at the SSA 2020 annual report from Cashman's and Wakefield. And what I want to do is go through the highlights. I've gone through it this morning and I've literally got my little notepad here and I've gone through it, well, I say this morning, yesterday and this morning, probably a day and a half, because I think this is critical and crucial for any self-storage owner. You must be investing the time to look at this and see where you can make changes in your business, because this data, as single owners, even if you've got 10, 20 stores, you aren't privy to this sort of data. This data is invaluable to you, your storage and your expansion and your future. So we've got to dissect it. We've got to go through it. And for me, this is like storage porn. Yes, I said storage porn. I couldn't wait. This is what kids must feel like at Christmas. I couldn't wait till it's been released. As soon as it was released there, I was checking it all out, making notes. And what I wanted to do with you guys is share my thoughts on it, because we've took a break from the interviews to do this, because I genuinely feel like, as much as the next guests offer so much value, we've got John Lindsay coming up, we've got Tron coming up, we've got Jim Ross coming up, we've got some fantastic guests coming up on the show. However, I just felt that I needed to pause and use one of these Wednesday sessions to go through it with you guys and let you know my key takeaways and see how that compares to your key takeaways. Okay, so I've got 5 pages of notes, so I'm going to make this as fast as I possibly can do, with making sure I articulate the points that I feel are strong enough for you guys to take notes. Okay, so these are on the front page. A lot of these are from the front page. This first couple are from the front page, or first page is from the front page of the SSA report, because they're the most notable results. For example, occupancy on current lettable space has risen from 76% to 82%. That is the highest on record since we've been doing these reports since 2004. Now, this includes unmature sites as well. So this is occupancy on current lettable space. So it's 82.3%. Now, if you only include mature sites, then it rises from 82.3% to 84.5%. So if you're a mature site, the average occupancy is 84.5%. That is phenomenal. And so what is a mature site? Because I didn't understand really the criteria of a mature site. And it's very, very simple. As it so happens, it explains it in the report. Mature site equals, it's a site that has less than 5% expansion in the last 2 years. So that's a site. So less than 5% expansion in the last 2 years. So Stormore wouldn't be considered a mature site, because we've had an expansion in the last 5 years and it's been over 5%. So we wouldn't be considered that. So I found that fantastic. Average net rental per square foot rose 3.9% to 23.94 pence. Now, it's a good stat to have, but we've got to bear in mind that the average rental per square foot you get in London is £33. The average price per square foot you get on the Humber is something like £18. So there's a massive, massive variance depending where in the country you are. So I wouldn't read too much into the UK average, because 23.94%, it includes obviously places like central London, which is a lot higher. So for me, yeah, it's a good overall barometer, but it's not a criteria that I set anything by at all. People renovating their home are 3 times more likely to use storage. Now, why have I used that? Why have I put that in there? It's because of marketing. If we know that people renovating their homes are 3 times more likely to use self-storage, then what do we need to do? We need to get in front of their eyeballs. How do we do that? Go to your local MKM, put flyers, do things like that. Facebook targeted ads. We can maybe even pay-per-clicks. It's just ideas. I don't know. It's just ideas floating out there, and you've got to get your marketing juices flowing, or the person who's in charge of your marketing to have a look at this, because people renovating their home are 3 times more likely to use self-storage. I thought that was phenomenal. 70% of self-storage users are between the ages of 40 and 70. Nothing really new there. We knew that. You can go down a little bit more as well. I haven't got the exact data here. I don't want to guess it, but if it's between 50 and 65 or something, then it's a big spike. So yeah, again, we need to market for the demographics. I put wow here. 43.3% of self-storage customers have used storage before. Whoa. So 43.3% of self-storage customers have used self-storage before. Now, I go into greater detail in something else about this, so I won't say too much about it. I'll just say wow at the minute, and then I'll go into more detail, because I feel like this is fundamental to your success. And I'm not going to say you won't be successful without it, but it's fundamental to increasing your success in future. I really, really like that stat. And so much so, I've had to go into it later. I've just realized I need a haircut, and I'm getting all grey hairs. I can see myself in the screen, and oh dear. Right. And I realized I'm putting my head down, and somebody actually, one of my friends, took a picture of me on one of the podcasts I do. And he said, because he's gone bald already, so he's only jealous. And he took a photo of a screenshot of me when I was recording one of his podcasts. And he goes, "Losing your hair much, Dean?" I was like, "You twat. It's a light. It's a light." Right. Divorced or separated are twice as likely to use self-storage. Interesting fact again. 83% of business owners of businesses who use self-storage have less than 10 staff. Again, interesting for your marketing. So that means that the bigger companies, the likes of, I don't know, McDonald's, they potentially have the space to have their own storage. It's businesses with less than 10 employees that we should be going after. All right, next page. 29% of users of self-storage are moving home. Interestingly, death in families are the most common life event people use storage for. Death in families are the most common life event people use storage for. Again, can we partner up with somebody in that sort of industry? What can we do there? And I know it's not particularly nice going to these places or anything, and you don't feel respectful, but you're actually helping their customers as well, because they need storage, or they potentially need storage. So how can we partner up with these sort of companies? What can we do? And again, it's got my juices flowing, thinking of what we can do. 0.74 square foot per person of self-storage in the UK, basically. So basically, when I used to say my criteria used to be anything below 0.7 square foot per capita, I would look to see if we can have a self-storage there. Here, it's saying that it's gone up from 0.7 basically to 0.74. So the average per person in the UK, the average supply at the minute is 0.74 square foot per person in the whole of the UK. Here's an interesting one. 25,288 square foot is the average store size. And I've put a note here. Please remember that the majority of people filling out these forms for this SSA report are the big boys. So the big boys tend to have bigger sites. So yeah, 25,288 is the average for these sites, but these are the bigger boys. So I would say across the whole country, then you're looking at a lot less than that. The average size of a facility is falling, and this is due, they said it as well in the report, and I 100% believe it. So the average size is falling. So that 25,288 is going to be less next year if we're going statistically on the current trends. So it's going to be less. It might be 24,000. And the reason being is because there's more development in rural areas and secondary locations. Secondary locations is where I'm going for personally, because I don't really want to take on the big boys, but I want to take on the underdeveloped sites, which are the secondary locations and more rural. I haven't really got into the rural areas yet, but there is more development there. Hence the reason why the average size of facility is falling, because in secondary locations, you don't need these big ones. Churn. The churn is 97% in 2020. That's what it was, the churn rate in 2020. In 2020, to give you some comparables, in 2019 it was 118%. I mean, for me, COVID must have helped. That's a massive change. 118% churn rate in 2019 to 97 in 2020. COVID must have helped this because people wasn't able to go to their units, etc. Or certainly in Hull it didn't make a difference because we lost a shitload. We outperformed this. I mean, by outperforming, I mean not in a good way. So yeah, it didn't help us. And by the way, I've learned today that the churn rate, how we do the churn rate, and how how the SSA report has done the churn rate is a little bit different. And what I've just texted James now is asking him to do it. So basically, the churn rate is measured by the total number of move-outs in a year divided by the total amount of units that were occupied during that period. So the churn rate is measured by the total number of move-outs in a year divided by the total amount of units that were occupied during the same period. For me, I don't do it on units. I do it on square footage. At the minute, I'm thinking that square footage is better because then it's more exact. But it's interesting. So again, what I'm going to do is make sure that we're comparing apples for apples, and we're going to have now my own comparison, my own churn rate, because I feel like square foot is the correct churn rate rather than units. The SSA clearly feel otherwise. And this is what's great. It's great about opinions. But also, if I'm going to take my own figures and my own data, then I want to know how mine compares to everybody else in the industry. So I'm going to start documenting the churn rate like the report suggests, and also like we are doing already. So yeah, just to make sure I can compare apples for apples. Okay, love this section I've got here. Operating costs. Just oh God, I'm only on page 2. Wow. And how long have we been going for? Here we go. 12 minutes already. Alrighty. Right. So love this section. Operating costs. 32% of operating costs are staff costs. 24% are rates and taxes. 17% are management costs. Interesting. Management costs. 10% are online marketing. 8% is utilities. 11% is other expenses. 4% is merchandise, i.e. your box and locks. 4% is repairs and maintenance. Interesting. Very interesting that. I love it. I absolutely love it. 3% is insurance and 2% is other marketing. So let's go 32% staff costs, 24% rates and taxes, 17% management costs, 10% online marketing, 8% utilities, 11% other expenses, 4% merchandise, 4% repairs and maintenance, 3% insurance, and 2% other marketing. Now, the reason why I keep saying rent is because it doesn't talk about rent here. I've looked at the terminologies. Is it because most of these are freehold? I genuinely don't know. I actually don't know. Is it rates and taxes? And by taxes, do they mean corporation tax? Again, I feel this section's left me with questions. And so they're the questions that I would love to ask. Where's the rent? Where's the rent? Is it included anywhere? It can't be management costs. It can't be rates and taxes, because otherwise it'd say rent, rates, and taxes. So I don't think they've added rent in here, which for people who have leasehold like me, who is trying to get into freehold, it's distorted. It doesn't really resonate with me. But yeah, I just love to know where that is and what the taxes mean. Is it the corporation tax on it? I don't know. I actually don't know. I mean, what other taxes could it be? I presume it must be. But yeah, I just like a little bit more clarity. And maybe it's just me, because I always say to my accountant and everybody, I say, look, speak to me like I'm a 5-year-old, because then I'll definitely get it. I might not get it if you speak to me like I'm intelligent. So if you speak to me like I'm an intelligent person. So always try to speak to me as like I'm a 5-year-old, and then I'll get it. And so I just missed it on that point. It might be me. You guys might be saying, well, God, rent is, I don't know. But yeah, I've missed it. Okay. And I always say that, you know what? You don't, there's all types of different smart. I'm not book smart, school smart, but I'm smart in different ways, and other people are different smarts in other ways. And do you know what? at the end of the day, self-storage, I think, is such an incredible business that you don't need to be you don't need to be anything special to make a success out of self-storage. Sources of inquiries. Now, I've got a massive note here. Anne Ballard. Now, Anne Ballard, I'd be saying, don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about your inquiries, where your inquiries come from. All I care about is where your move-ins come from. And as soon as like I had my private mentoring session with her, I agree. Yes, Anne Ballard doesn't document where her inquiries come from because she's not really that bothered. Or if she does, she doesn't really hold too much weight in them. And I get that. I understand it and I agree with it. However, I do want to know where my inquiries come from because I like to see the inquiry percentage, where something come from compared to the conversion rate, what we're getting at certain things. So I like all that. But here we've only got inquiries and conversions of inquiries. We've got nothing about where your moving comes from. And so I would really love next year to have a move-ins, source of inquiries, source of move-ins, because surely it doesn't matter. As Anne Ballard said, this is Anne Ballard's words. Can't really take any credit. It doesn't matter where the inquiry come from because a lot of those inquiries, or most of the inquiries, are not going to store with you. So where does your moving come from? And when you know where the moving come from, then that's when you can make a change in how you're marketing, your budgets, you do everything. Whereas if you're just looking at your inquiries, for me, we're missing a trick here. We really are missing a trick. Inquiries, good to see, but ultimately, the majority of these inquiries will not store with you. They just won't. Fact, absolute fact. They will not store with you. So at the very, very best, you're talking 75% of people. Only a quarter of these inquiries will actually store with you, and therefore. And by the way, I'm saying that a quarter, obviously, if you've got your prices displayed on your website, then your conversion rate will be much, much higher because you're filtering people out. You've got a warmer audience. I'm just talking about me and the majority of people like Big Yellow, Safe Store. They have their prices through some sort of data collection. So for me, it's great to see, but we need to see only a quarter of these, the very, very top, will move in with you, where 75% of them won't do, but we're still including that 75% who aren't even going to use you. So it's just, for me, it's distorting the data. It's massively distorting the data because what we want to see is where do our move-ins come from. For example, source of inquiries, 69% come from website, 11% come from signage, 5% come from directories, 9% come from referral, 3% come from social media. I think that's incredible, by the way. I think that's really, really high. And people are saying that we should spend more time on social media. I disagree. I really disagree. I believe you should focus more on pay-per-clicks and SEO because that's where it's at. That's where it's working. And social media, as we can see here, 3% of your inquiries come from there. Let alone, it's only inquiries, let alone how many people actually move in. So for us, for example, 70, for ease of figures, 70% come from Google. Our inquiries come from Google. But it's around about 50% of our overall move-ins come from Google. So there's another 50% somewhere. Where do they come from? That's what I want to know. And here, it doesn't tell us. We don't know. And so therefore we can't base any judgment, any marketing knowledge, or we can't deploy any extra resources anywhere because we don't really know. There's nothing behind these figures. And this is where, I mean, by the way, I think they've done an amazing job, an absolute amazing job. I take my hat off to the report. I think it's amazing. Obviously, I'm just trying to point out where I believe improvements could be made somewhere along the line. So for me, yes, we want to see the move-ins. Where did the source of move-ins? Where did they come from? Because I'd be so interested. It'd be storage porn for me again. I'd be like, oh wow, this is amazing. Oh, right. So conversions, and they put here estimated conversions. 24% come from, so 24% conversion rate on email, 48.71% on telephone, so 49%, and 72.53% come from walk-ins. So the conversion rate is 49% on telephone and 73% on walk-ins and 24% on email. You've got to remember the conversions, that's all well and good conversions, but you're going to get a lot of people who don't show. And some people suggest it's up to a third of people, which again, I'd love to see on this report as well. How many, I mean, I don't think I could have missed it, but I don't think it does. It definitely doesn't say about your move-ins, because I looked with my eager eyes. You watch, I probably missed it. So I did look on that, but yeah, it could have mentioned that. It could have mentioned that. So for me here, what I want to talk about here is it differs completely depending if you're displaying your prices on your website. So if you're displaying your prices on your website, then your conversion rates are going to be a lot higher. And like I say, we don't know how many people was no-shows. There could have been normally, like I say, about a third of people don't show according to the stats that I've read from the bigger boys. We're a bit less than that, so interesting to see what you guys are like. But a third of these conversions who actually reserve a unit never show up, according to the big boys, from the data that I've seen anyway. Like I say, we're less. Also, so I've mentioned here that your conversion rates will differ absolutely completely depending if you've got your prices on your website or not, if you've got them hidden by a wall, a data wall or not, i.e. telephone, email address. And so we just got to, so we're not comparing like for like here. And another thing that I've read here as well is take this data with a pinch of salt, as some operators converse over email and then ring them to try. So first of all, they inquire over email, but then they'll speak to them on the phone. And then when they reserve that unit over the phone, they class it as a reservation for the telephone, which what I do is a first point of contact. So if it's email and we ring them and we convert them over the phone, then we still put it down as an email reservation, a website reservation kind of thing. So that's interesting. I'm just going through it. I'm just reading it again. And for me, I just don't know what operators do what. So with these estimated, that's probably why I put estimated conversions, because it is very, very estimated. And for me, you're not comparing apples with apples. So we've got to be very, very careful when I don't want nobody to go back to the team and say, hey, look, the average is 24% email conversions. Why are we only at 15%? The average on telephone is 49%. How come we're only converting 30%? You know, what's happening? So it's not like for like. So we've got to be very, very careful not to read in too much to these figures. And bearing in mind, it's better to have these than not have them. I think it's fantastic. But I just want to point out that not all people will be doing it equal and the same. So therefore, the figures will be distorted a little bit. 73% of people of facilities display prices online, but I put here, it's not clear if an email is needed. So if it's hidden by a data wall or not. So 73% of display their prices online. Now, I believe that means that it's taking into consideration people actually showing the prices, like SureGuard, and people who don't show the prices, like Big Yellow and SafeStore. And yeah, I know Store First do as well. So from I keep saying for me, but yeah, I believe that it's saying it's banding SureGuard together with SafeStore, with Big Yellow, because ultimately you can get your prices online without speaking to somebody. But sometimes you need to put some details in before you get the prices. I could be completely wrong, but that's how I'm reading into this. Right, page 4. Oh, here we go. Here's a massive takeaway. Considering only 2% of the population are using self-storage, interestingly to note that over 43% of current users have used self-storage in the past. So over 43% of people have used self-storage in the past. And it's incredible, really, when you consider only 2% of the population are using self-storage. But 43% of your users in self-storage have used storage before. So that tells me that once somebody uses self-storage and knows how easy, convenient, and cost-efficient it is, then they're more likely, I'm going to say 100% more likely, but they're a lot more than 100% more likely to use self-storage again. So the question you got to ask yourself, this is the big takeaway for me in the whole of this report is, what can we do to increase the feel good factor for a customer when they leave you? So therefore, they're more likely to come back out there. If they feel good leaving you, they're more likely to come back. So we've got to remember how we treat our current customers is absolutely paramount to future reservations and rentals. That is, it's absolutely made me speechless as this stat. 43% of current users have used self-storage before. And especially when you consider only 2% of the population have used self-storage before, that data is absolutely incredible. That for me has been worth reading. Even if I only got this takeaway, it'd be worth reading 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever I've spent on this. It'd be worth it, because that just tells me how you make your current customers feel, what experience you give them will have a massive, massive impact on your future rentals. Not just a word of mouth, not just using their social proof to recommend to a friend, for them customers returning. It's incredible. Oh, I actually genuinely getting goose pimples thinking about it. What can we do? And so again, it goes back to everything that I'm about is how can we do more? What can we do for our customer? What extra mile can we do for our customers? How can we make our customers feel more cared for? And that's why, back in my mind, I'm thinking price increases. We're very, very aggressive with our price increases, very aggressive. We got two people this week have complained about our price increases. And then you start thinking, we're being too aggressive. But then AJ Osborne, I'm a member of his mastermind, he always says there's 3 different clientele, there's 3 different types of customers. And you want the people who, the top two clientele types of customers that aren't price dependent, aren't just looking at the price. And so we've got to make sure that we encourage and do everything we can for the people who aren't motivated by price. And the people who are motivated by price, then we've got to discard them and let them go elsewhere, because we aren't the best fit for them. And so ultimately, we're still doing it for them. And I get it. I still have a little bit of a hard time with it. I still want to be very, very careful with our price increases, because I don't just want to discard a customer and say, all right, there's a price increase. If you don't like it, tatty bye-bye. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that company. However, I do feel like there's a tactical approach as well. And we've got to be very, very careful, because like I was talking to the team this week, we are now 82% full and we're fully fit out in Stormore. So we can't get any more size at all. We can't grow. We can't expand. We can't do anything. Can fit a few new containers in, but that's it. And so how we behaved when we was going from 0 to 80% full is completely different to how we now have to behave from 80% to 95% full, or wherever we go to, 80 to 90% full. We've got to behave a different way, because it's a different revenue management. It's a different set of skills. And we've always been bending over backwards for our customers, and we don't like to say no to the customers, and we've always tried to work with them. However, revenue management becomes much, much more important and fundamental to the growth of the business, because we can't grow by square foot, but we can grow by revenue management. And so as a team, we're having a little bit of, not a hard time, but we're trying our very, very best to have this change of mindset, when before it was different. Like, for example, I'll give you one example that's standing out to me right now, and I've got to be very careful not to go on, because 29 minutes, wow. And I've only got a few more to talk about. So we're all right, but I will be very quick. So there's one person, 50 square foot unit, and they've got a car parking space. And the car parking space, as we know, we need to get rid of the car parking spaces, because we want outdoor units in there. They're better. Return on investment, probably not, because we don't spend anything to get the money for a car parking space, but ultimately we get more money from a container. So therefore we need, over time, it's better for us to get containers in. So we've increased our prices for our cars by 33%. And if they stay, fine. But a lot of them will go, because it's 33% increase. So she's got a car space and she's got a 50 square foot space. We've increased our prices of our 50 square foot in the past 2 months or so, or 3 months. And so she's got a price increase from a 50 square foot to street rate, and she's got a 33% increase on her car space. And last time she had an increase was 9 months ago. And so again, it's quite aggressive, 9 months, but we've took her up to street rate. I don't know what percent increase it was. It could have just been 10%, something like that. So not whopping, but she's complained, and she's been with us 2 years. And I spoke to the team, and the team want to do something for her. However, we have 50 square foot in the whole building. We have got no 50 square foot in the building. So could we rent out? Absolutely. So what we're doing, if we do something for her, it's exactly the same as getting rid of her and then renting out to somebody else, and that extra money we get is giving it straight to her, because we are physically losing that money, because we know we can rent it out, that 50 square foot, and we just might as well give her money. That's what we're doing. We're giving her money. And so it's a different mindset, because before we would meet her in the middle and say, I'll tell you what, we'll only do this. We'll do this. We'll only increase the rent of the car, I don't know. We do something to work with her. But because this is where, unfortunately, I took the more harder line, and the team, obviously, the way that we built the culture of the storage is that we want to do everything we possibly can do for the customers. And I love that. I love the fact that the team want to do that as well. However, in terms of revenue, that on this occasion, although she's been in 2 years and she says she's going to move out, and I know she is going to move out because she's already got a quote from Beverly. I think I've mentioned this on another podcast. And so we're at Stormore. She doesn't know that Beverly is owned by Stormore. Stormore's owned by Beverly. She doesn't know that. She just knows it's a different storage company. So she got a price for Beverly. And so I've said to the team, we've got to stick with both price increases, whether it wasn't right before, but it's right now, because it's supply and demand, unfortunately. And what we've got to say to her is, listen, the price in the 50 square foot are going up again. And we're only taking you up to the previous street rate. We're not taking you up to the new street rate. So therefore, you're going to be getting a better deal than anybody who comes in and any existing customers. So we've got to try and talk to her to keep it in. We've got to really focus on that. But ultimately, if she leaves, we've got to accept that. 2-year customer, I understand that, but we've got no 50 square foot. And unfortunately, this is a change between a lease up phase and a maturity phase for self-storage. And you've got to be the correct leader, I believe, the correct owner, the correct manager for the lease up, but then it's got to change. You've got to change for when you're maturity. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean taking away that compassion, but it does mean that the way I lead, the way we focus, has got to be a little bit different in this stage. We've got to be a little bit more professional now. Not saying we weren't professional previously, but we've got to think about numbers rather than compassion. We've got to think about numbers, and yet when we can measure two, that's brilliant. Like, for example, we've measured two. Somebody's got 250 square foot offers. The increase was going to be over the 250 square foot rate. It was going to be over the 275 square foot rate, and the paying is like 90 quid. We've got some big units left. We've got more containers that we can get. And I said to James, I said, you know what? On this occasion, they've only been in 6 months, because we increase prices in the first 6 months, and then every 9 months after that. And we do it by 10 or 12%. I think it's 12% now. It's pretty tough. And then this occasion, I said, look, they've only been in 6 months. It's good money for us. Let's not increase this time, because we're going above street rate anyway. So and the problem is, when we're making these decisions, I know it's hard because we haven't got a set fast formula. And so therefore the staff can't do it on the back all the time. But so that's one of my jobs today, is to make sure that they don't have to contact me when somebody complains about a price increase. They can do it themselves, because what we need is we need a system. We need to systematize it, because I can't be the bottleneck. The staff shouldn't, or the team shouldn't be ringing me. But it's not their fault, it's my fault. They shouldn't be ringing me and saying, Dean, you haven't replied to the email. Because I don't want to be the bottleneck and saying, oh yeah, sorry, let's do this on this occasion, let's do this on this occasion, because then therefore emotion comes into it. So, and like I said, the reason why we're not increasing that 250 square foot unit is because we've got loads of them, and we're not losing customers if somebody comes in and they've only been in 6 months. So there is certain criteria, but we are going to have a blanket statement for, you know me, I love my systems and procedures, my SOPs, standard operating procedures. So we're going to have a sheet for that to make sure that every single customer, every single time a customer complains, they know, bang, okay, what do we do here? We know, rather than ringing Dean up, because again, you've got to have systems and procedures to make it life easy. So therefore, you're not the bottleneck. Anyway, I don't want to bore you too much. I bored you already. I don't want to bore you anymore. Right. So distance people will travel. So 14% of people, I'm going to sit back a little bit, get a little bit comfy. God, I've been talking for so long. Distance of travel, 14% of people travel less than 5 minutes to a storage facility. 31% of people travel between 6 and 10 minutes to a self-storage facility. 21% of people travel between 11 and 15 minutes. So that means that 66% of people travel 15 minutes, less than 15 minutes. 66% of people travel less than 15 minutes to your self-storage facility. Right, here's some more. 66, 76, so it's 72%, right? So 16% of people travel between 16 and 20 minutes to a self-storage facility. That's 72% of people travel less than 20 minutes to a self-storage facility. I think that is, obviously we all knew these data anyway, but that's fascinating. So 66, oh, sorry, wait a second. No, it's more than that. Right, so let me see. So it is, 66% of people travel under 15 minutes to a self-storage facility. 45% of people travel less than 10 minutes to a self-storage facility. And 82% of people travel less than 20 minutes to a self-storage facility. Could I have read the number wrong? 50, 60. Anyway, right. 3% of people, I hope not. The reason is because I've missed out one demographic. So 3% of people travel between 31 and 45 minutes, and 5%. I really messed this up, haven't I? 5% travel more than 45 minutes. So in essence, only 18% of people travel more than 20 minutes to a self-storage facility. That is bananas. So I can actually work it out. So 10% of people travel between 21 and 30 minutes to a self-storage facility. Hi, my maths is right. 10% of people travel between 21 minutes and 30 minutes to a self-storage facility. Interesting data. Oh, yeah, this is something that's come up with me, and I've thought about it in the past. Waste disposal. Additional services required. So the top answer requested from customers was waste disposal. 14% of people asked for waste disposal. That's incredible. I've actually asked for it. And normally, if you can't see it, you don't ask for it. If there's no skip outside, guess what? There's probably no skip service available. But the fact that they've asked for it, I don't know what we can do here. But we've had this in the past as well. People have asked us if I can leave stuff, if we can get rid of stuff for them. Is there something we can do? Is there a weekly skip that we can have? It looks messy. It looks shitty. And my instant reaction is, no, there's nothing we can do. But sometimes my instant reaction isn't the best. So I don't know. It's worth considering. It's just interesting that the people are asking for it. And if people are asking for it, then that's how we can stand out a little bit. I don't know if it's doable. Probably not. Probably not, because it looks messy. It looks untidy. People take advantage. You're going to have people putting more in than other people. And that's where it gets a bit uneasy. So the answer is probably not. But again, without most innovations come from probably not. No, it won't work. No, it won't. Oh, it will work. So yeah, most innovations, we've got to be open to change our mind. Oh yeah, this is an interesting one. 69% of people needed help from staff for sizes. That is fascinating. So most people don't know what size they need. So when the customer rings you up, never, ever, ever, ever ask them, what size do you need? You're the expert, behave like the expert. Never ask that in a sales call. It is amateur hour. So we never ask that. I used to ask that personally all the time. What size do you need? Wait, I wouldn't know. So why would they know? It's ridiculous. So yeah, and the data suggests here 69% of people needed help from staff. I mean, also there's I think it was 3% of people needed help but didn't get help from the staff, and there was another one. So basically, most people need help with the unit size. And that was the key takeaway there. I've only got 3 more things to talk about, and they're all connected. 55% of people would prefer to book and pay online. 55% of people would prefer to book and pay online, and that has increased from last year. So again, we're moving into more automation. 44% of people would be willing to use a manless facility. 36% of people are not willing to use a manless facility, and 20% of people don't know if they'll be willing to use it or not. But I do believe that's a leading question. When I looked at how it was put, they asked people, would you be willing to use a manless facility? A manless facility means there's no staff on site. You can only talk to them by telephone or by video. I feel like that's a leading question. I feel like it's leading people down the path of saying no. So I personally, and maybe it's my bias because I'm setting up manless facilities, maybe it's my hope that I'm biased, but yes, still more people will be willing to use it. But I still suggest here that because it was the way it was phrased, I feel like it was leading them to say they're not willing. And I'm not saying that they had an agenda at all, because how do you get across? You can't get across. Would you be willing to use a manless facility? What's a manless facility? Well, it's when you first, especially when people don't understand storage, they don't know storage, don't understand it. Most people, it's 50-50 at the minute. People have heard storage, not heard storage. But if you've not used self-storage before, then, and only 2% of the population are currently in storage, then you would say, no, I would need help. If someone asked me about something that I've never used before, we'd be willing to use automation to get into a facility. I'd be like, no chance. I don't know what I'm doing. And so I believe that it's obviously true, but again, it's not comparable in real life, because I believe that it's your job with your internet, with your website, to really make sure that you make it as easy as possible for the customer and basically handhold them through. And also let them know that, hey, we're here if you need us. We're on the end of a telephone. We can do a video call. We can talk you through it. We can do everything you need to over a phone. We don't need to be face to face. We can do this communication over the telephone rather than face to face. So I believe it's all about how we educate our customers who are coming online. So for me, yeah, it's a little bit misleading, that one. Not saying that Whitfield and Cushman's were misleading at all in it, because clearly, how else do you get the point across? But it's our job that once to start down that rabbit hole of looking at self-storage, then I believe it'll be a fair question. Would you be willing to use a manless facility? And I would say 80-90% of people would say yeah, because it's all about how you educate the customer. And obviously, there's no way Cushman's and Wakefield could only contact people who've got a quote. It's impossible. So there we go. That's my analysis of the SSA Cushman and Wakefield's report 2020. Can I just say that take my hat off to Cushman's and Wakefield, because I believe that they've done an incredible job. I thoroughly enjoyed reading through it, talking through it to you guys. It's 43 minutes. Holy shit. Holy smoke. And also SSA, Rennie and the team over there, I think they've done an absolutely awesome job with this, because I don't know about you, but for me, I just look forward to reading it every single year. Normal years, I go to Scarborough and I sit outside a coffee shop and I just read it. But it's been shitty weather this week, so I haven't been able to do that. So I've sat at my kitchen table and done it, had a cup of tea. Right. That's it. I'm not going to bore you anymore. Thank you very much for tuning in. I love and appreciate each and every single one of you. And this, basically, to conclude, it underlines and just magnifies how amazing self-storage is and how lucky, blessed we all are. For whatever reason, our paths have gone down this industry, and we're very, very lucky. For me, it was just a chance going on holiday to America and seeing these everywhere. And I feel lucky and very, very lucky and blessed, because each and every single one of us could easily be doing something else. But we're in a fantastic industry that's growing and growing and growing. And I think it's going to grow for the next decade. And it's going to be exciting to see where each of us will end up, because we've got such an amazing opportunity. I really believe we've got an amazing opportunity, and we can set not just our life up financially, but we can actually have a legacy. We can do this for it's generational wealth that we can actually achieve here. And I really believe that. I don't worry about my personal wealth anymore because I can stop right now and not do any more and just sit on Stonewall and Beverly and the new Hull site that's coming and be brilliant, more than brilliant. But it's not about the money anyway for me. It's about the game. I love the game. I love it. But now we've got a real massive chance to really make an impact on your kids' lives, your kids' lives, generational wealth. This is what we're talking about here. And I know that people are saying, all right, you're going a bit overboard now, Dean. It's a good opportunity, but come on. No. I think I honestly believe it. I'm getting so excited even just talking about the opportunities are amazing. Whether you're a manager, you could go out there and run a management team looking after these wealthy investment funds that are coming in. You could manage it. There's so many things that you could do right now in this industry. It doesn't matter if you're working in the industry, if you're a manager in the industry, if you're an owner, if you're an investor. There's opportunities for everybody. And if you want to, I don't mean to everybody should work for themselves. If you want to be a manager, then there's so many opportunities out there. There's going to be so many more stores. There's going to be opportunities for area managers, regional managers. It's only just starting. This industry is just starting. And we, my friends, are at the very, very start of it. Yes, some of us were later in it than others. And obviously we want to be in it earlier. But right now, just be grateful that we're in this industry. We've been through COVID. Well, hopefully we've been through COVID and we've done well. And now it's a time that we've got a strong foundation and we are going to build. It is going to continue to grow and we continue to be in a fantastic industry where we don't have to worry about redundancies. We don't have to worry about people going bust. We don't have to worry about bankruptcy. There's so many things to be grateful of in this industry. And I, for one, am just over the moon that for whatever reason, the stars aligned and I was very lucky to come in this industry. God knows what else I'd be doing if I want in this industry now. Probably podcasting about summer. I love my podcast. I just love talking, don't I? Right. Thank you so much. I'm going to shut up now. But remember, you were very, very fortunate to be in this industry. And if you are not in this industry yet, then do you know what? Yeah, the best time to be in this industry was last year, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago. But the very, very next best time is right now. So please, if you want to get in this industry, then start moving, start immobilizing and start looking because it is fantastic. It is terrific and it will build wealth long term. It won't get you rich quick, but it'll certainly build wealth long term. All right, my friends, as you can tell, I'm Storage's #1 fan. I absolutely freaking love it. All right, dudettes, have a wonderful, wonderful day. And 47 minutes. Woohoo. Sorry for going on so much, but I just love it. I'm so passionate about it. And I enjoy going through all the data. All right, my friends, take care. Lots of love. Lots of Deanie love. Speak to you soon. Bye.